those here present, the conferment of Doctor of Laws, Honoris Causa, by the Tarlac State University, to the Honorable Chief Justice Diosdado Peralta, shall now begin. We shall now have the presentation and conferment of Doctor of Laws, Honoris Causa.
Honorable Zenaida N. Elepaño, Honorable Abelardo Dumondon, Honorable Catherine P. Pedrosa, to the Legal Education Board, hear our petition. Whereas Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta was born on 27 March 1952 in Lawag City, Ilocos Norte, to Judge Elviro L. Peralta, a judge of the Court of First Instance, and Catalina M. Peralta, a public school teacher. Whereas Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta started his career in government service in 1987 when he was appointed Third Assistant City Fiscal of Lawag City. In 1988, he was assigned to the prosecutor's office in the city of Manila. And in the early part of 1994, he became the assistant chief of the investigation division of the office of the city prosecutor. Whereas, as a prosecutor, Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta was recognized by the city of Manila as its most outstanding prosecutor for the year 1990-1991, and by the Department of Justice in 1994 as the most outstanding public prosecutor of the city of Manila, assured up to the exacting standards of the then presiding Justice Romeo J. Callejo, Sr., whose Branch 49, a heinous crimes and drugs court, was revered to be the fastest in revolving cases. Whereas, September 1994, Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta was appointed to his first judicial post when he was appointed as the presiding judge of Branch 95 of the Regional Trial Court of Quezon City, which was designated as a special criminal court on heinous crimes and later on drugs cases. Whereas, as a trial court judge, Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta was awarded by the Quezon City chapter of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines for his speedy and scholarly disposition of criminal cases. He was also recognized and awarded by the Volunteers Against Crime and Corruption during its first founding anniversary in 1999, the annual Pillars of the Criminal Justice System Award. Whereas, Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta was conferred by both Integrated Bar of the Philippines and the Supreme Court during the latter's centennial year on June 6, 2001. The Special Centennial Awards in the field of criminal law for his credible and no-nonsense management and expeditious disposal of heinous crimes and drugs cases has visibly strengthened the Philippine criminal justice system and helped bolster and maintain respect, trust, and confidence in our criminal courts. He was likewise being given by the Foundation for Judicial Excellence in the year 2002 the coveted Chief Justice Ramon Abansenya Award for Judicial Excellence, an outstanding regional trial court judge. Whereas, in the year 2002, Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta was promoted as an Associate Justice of the Sandigan Bayan. And in the year 2008, he was elevated as the presiding justice of the country's anti-graft court. During his stint in the Sandigan Bayan, he was part of the Sandigan Bayan Special Division, which tried and convicted a former president of the crime of plunder. Whereas, as an advocate of continuous trial in criminal cases, Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta consciously decided cases within the reglementary periods and in accordance with law, jurisprudence, rules of procedure, and the Constitution. At the time he was promoted to the Sandigan Bayan, he left only about 25 cases, down from about 600 cases when he started as a trial judge. Even before the Supreme Court came out with a computerized case management information system, he is known to have his own version in the trial court, which resulted in efficient case monitoring, expedited resolution of cases, and low caseload of his court docket. Whereas, during his term as Associate Justice and later Presiding Justice, the Sandigan Bayan registered the most number of cases decided on the merits because of the innovations he introduced, namely the stipulation on the testimony of witnesses, including documentary evidence, and the adoption of affidavits and statement of witnesses as their direct testimony, subject to cross-examination, which were later adopted by other associate justices of the Sandigan Bayan and incorporated in the revised guidelines for continuous trial of criminal cases. As a result, the long and tedious presentation of testimonies of witnesses has been greatly reduced. Whereas, on the 13th of January 2009, Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta was named as the 162nd Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the Philippines. Whereas, Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta's efficiency in case management and advocacy for speedy disposition of cases was again put to test when he became an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court in 2009 and inherited the most number of cases at about 1,128 judicial and administrative cases. Due to sheer diligence and passion for work, he is consistent
as one of the top performers in adjudicating cases, which enabled him to reduce no less than 200 cases to date. Despite his work as the Chief Justice, which includes his various committee work and academic collaborations with the Philippine Judicial Academy. Whereas, prior to his appointment as a member of the Supreme Court, Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta was a professor, lecturer, resource person, a bar reviewer in criminal law, criminal procedure, remedial law, trial technique at the UST Faculty of Civil Law, the Ateneo de Manila University, San Beda College of Law, the University of the East, and the University of the Philippines Law Center, among others. He has been a member of the Corps of Professors under the Department of Criminal Law of the PhilJA and remains to be an active lecturer thereof on its orientation program for newly appointed judges, pre-judicature program, and other training seminar. Whereas, Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta was given the Ulirang Ama Sectoral Award on Law and Judiciary from the Ulirang Ama Foundation in 2006 and was awarded as the Outstanding Tomasian Alumni by the University of Santo Tomas Alumni Association in 2008. Whereas, in 2014, Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta served as the chairperson of both the 2014 bar examinations and the special Sharia bar examinations, which prepared the present rules in the conduct of the special Sharia bar examinations that took effect in 2015. Whereas, the Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta was also a member of the Supreme Court committees that prepared the rules of procedure for environmental cases in 2010 and the rules of procedure for intellectual property rights cases in 2011. He also acted as ex officio chairperson of the Judicial and Bar Council during the search for the new Chief Justice in 2012. Whereas, in time and in merit, and in recognition of all his achievements and accomplishments, on the 23rd October 2019, Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta was appointed as the 26th Chief Justice of the Republic of the Philippines. Whereas, upon his appointment as Chief Justice, Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta presented his 10-point program, which comprises his major plans and programs for the judiciary, the core areas of which are efficiency, integrity, security, and service. The 10-point program pertains to judicial reforms that will focus on the following. Number one, the elimination of backlog in the Supreme Court and all other courts. Number two, the implementation of duly approved revised rules of court and the continuous revision of the rules of court and other rules of procedure, and for the PhilJA to focus on skills-based training for judges and court personnel. Number three, the automation of court processes. Number four, weeding out of misfits from the judiciary and to adopt a system where the court may initiate on its own the investigation of cases being handled by members of the judiciary even in the absence of the complaint. The strengthening of the office of the court administrator and implementation of the Judicial Integrity Board. Number six, strengthening and improvement of the security of our justices, judges, and halls of justice. Number 7, the setting up of the 24/7 help desk in the Office of the Chief Justice and other offices to receive the concerns of court users. Number 8, the monitoring of performance of all courts as regards the observation of reglementary periods. Number 9, the improvement of procurement and bidding processes for faster and more timely implementation of projects. And number 10, the creation of the Strategic Planning and Management Unit under the Program Management Office, which shall focus on the planning, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation of court projects geared towards court-specific goals associated with the country's national development plan. Whereas, at present, Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta is the chairperson of the Committee on the Revision of the Rules of Court, the chairperson of the Subcommittee on the Revision of the 1997 Rules of Civil Procedure, and the chairperson of the Special Committee for the Rules on Inspection of the Philippine Competition Commission, the Special Committee for the Rules of Procedure for Admiralty cases, as well as the subcommittees for the revision of the Rules of Procedure for Intellectual Property Rights cases and the revision of the Rules on Criminal Procedure. He is also a member of the Board of Judges of the Society for Judicial Excellence and of the Subcommittee on the Internal Rules of the Supreme Court, as well as the lead representative of the Judiciary Budget Committee that defends its budget before Congress since 2012. He is likewise a member of the following committees: Committee on the Rules on DNA Evidence, Committee on the Revision of the Philippine Bench Book for Trial Court Judges, the Judicial Reform Support Project Management Committee in 2015, and the chairperson and main architect of the Special Committee on Speedy Trial, which drafted the 27 revised guidelines on continuous trial of criminal cases. Both rules of procedure show remarkable and significant improvement in reducing the duration of court proceedings and in improving the trial court's compliance with the reglementary periods, which resulted in drastic case docket reduction and speedy disposition of cases. Whereas, Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta likewise serves as the chairperson of the Special Committee on the Revision of the 2018 Internal Rules of the Sandigan Bayan, as well as the Special Committee on the Rules of Procedure in Election Contest before the first level courts. He also spearheaded the adoption of the 2019 guidelines on the use of video conferencing technology for remote court appearance or testimony of persons deprived of liberty in jails and national penitentiaries, which was pilot tested in Davao City. Whereas, Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta has been the chairperson of the First Division of the Supreme Court since his appointment as Chief Justice. He previously chaired the court's Third Division, where he presided over the deliberations of judicial and administrative matters assigned to the members of the said division. Whereas, on August 2018, until his appointment as Chief Justice, Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta served as the chairperson of the House of Representatives Electoral Tribunal, of which he had been a member since 2011. Through his leadership of the HRET, which mandates protest cases and quo warranto cases involving sitting members of the House of Representatives, all the cases that were filed during the 17th Congress were all decided before its term ended in June 2019. He had, for a long period of time, acted as chairperson of the Senate Electoral Tribunal, which decides cases involving sitting members of the Senate of the Philippines. Currently, Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta is the ex officio chairperson of the Presidential Electoral Tribunal. Whereas, in spite of his numerous responsibilities as a member of the Supreme Court, Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta makes it his professional and personal advocacy to conduct lectures on various procedural and substantive rules for the various stakeholders of the justice system. He regularly serves as a resource person of the PhilJA in the conduct of training seminars for newly appointed judges, pre-judicature programs, and continuing legal education for court attorneys, government, and private lawyers, among others, regarding the basic principles of and special issues on the revised guidelines for continuous trial of criminal cases, the rules of procedure on small claims cases, plea bargaining in criminal cases, computation of penalties, as well as development and updates in criminal law and criminal procedure, special rules of procedure on environmental law and the intellectual property law, and other rules of procedure where he is either a chairperson or member of the Rules Committee. Whereas the decisions, resolutions penned by Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta in his long career as a jurist reflect and affirm his adherence to the rule of law, the Constitution, the precepts of liberty and democracy, and to social justice. Whereas, despite the rage of a pandemic that caught the world by surprise, causing the collapse of economies, the closure of businesses, the loss of livelihood, and the halt to the world as we know it, the leadership of Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta of the judiciary has anchored it safe. While courts remain physically closed to ensure the safety not only of the workers of the judiciary but also the court users, Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta ensured that the courts remain accessible to safeguard the people's right and welfare. Whereas, more than all that he has accomplished, Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta is a husband to Honorable Fernanda Lampas Peralta, the Senior Associate Justice of the Court of Appeals, and a father to their children, Attorney Dorothy, John Christopher, Timothy John, and John Isaac. Wherefore, there is no one else more deserving of the highest honor that can be bestowed by the School of Law of the Tarlac State University, the degree of Doctor of Laws, Honoris Causa, than Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta, the 26th Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the Republic of the Philippines.
Resolution number 143-13, approving the conferment of Doctor of Laws Honoris Causa by the Tarlac State University on the Chief Justice of the Philippines, the Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta. Whereas the Tarlac State University, or TSU, is a Level 4 state university in existence for more than 25 years with a well-known and well-acknowledged academic reputation. Whereas on January 22, 2021, the TSU applied with the Legal Education Board for authority to confer the degree of Doctor of Laws Honoris Causa on the Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta, Chief Justice of the Philippines. Whereas the prospective honoree possesses all the qualifications and none of the disqualifications for the conferment of the honorary doctorate degree in law pursuant to LEB Memorandum Order Number 9, Series of 2017, whereas the board at a special meeting called for this purpose unanimously approved on February 4, 2021, the application of TSU in consideration of the meritorious qualifications and the legacy that the prospective honor will leave his country and his countrymen, as well as the status of the granting institution. Wherefore, be it resolved, as it is hereby resolved, that by authority vested in it by the law, Republic Act number 7662, the Legal Education Board approves and grants the application of the Tarlac State University for authority to confer the degree of Doctor of Laws Honoris Causa on the Chief Justice of the Philippines, the Honorable Diosdado M. Peralta, in recognition of his accomplishments in law, justice, governance, leadership, and public service. Approved and adopted unanimously this 4th day of February 2021 in Quezon City, Philippines. Signed, yours truly, and by the other commissioners of the Legal Education Board, Joseph Sorrera T., who regretfully is not with us today due to the constraints of space and time caused by the pandemic. Commissioner Abelardo T. Dumondon, he is with us right now. May we ask Commissioner Dumondon to stand up and be recognized? Commissioner Catherine Pedrosa, who represents the law students. Commissioner Cathy, can you stand up? And our ex officio member, the chairperson of the Commission on Higher Education, who also unfortunately is not with us today, Prospero E. De Vera III. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to congratulate the Tarlac State University for this great honor bestowed on our beloved Chief Justice, and we hope that his legacy will remain in our hearts forever. Thank you and good day.
Madam President, I have the honor to present the Honorable Chief Justice Diosdado Peralta for the conferment of the degree Doctor of Laws, Honoris Causa.
Upon the recommendation of the Tarlac State University Academic Council and upon the approval of the Tarlac State University Board of Regents and the Legal Education Board, and by the virtue vested in me, I now confer on you, Honorable Chief Justice Diosdado Peralta, the degree Doctor of Laws, Honoris Causa. Congratulations.
Yung family niya. Yung family niya. Family.
We shall now proceed to the wearing of gown, hood, cap, and medal, awarding of diploma, and awarding of plaque of citation. May we request the family of Chief Justice Diosdado Peralta to join our honoree on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, may I now present our graduate, Honorable Chief Justice Diosdado Peralta.
May I ask permission from the university that I may be allowed to remove my face mask, and also from the local officials, especially the governor and the city mayor of Tarlac, with your kind indulgence. Dr. Ronald Adamat, Commissioner, CHED, and Chair, Board of Trustees, Tarlac State University. Honorable Zenaida Elepanyo, Chairperson of the Legal Education Board and retired Court Administrator of the Supreme Court. Professor Abelardo Dumondon, Leb Commissioner. Attorney Catherine Pedrosa, Commissioner, Leb. Governor Swan Yap, good morning, ma'am. Vice Governor Carlito David. Congressman Noel Villanueva. Congressman Vic Yap. Mayor Cristina Angeles, Tarlac City. Good morning, ma'am. Mayor Christian Yap of Victoria, Tarlac. Mayor Reynaldo Katakutan, Kapas, Tarlac. Dr. Mirna Malyari, President of the Tarlac State University. Dr. Edwin Lacanlale, Vice President for Academic Affairs, Tarlac State University. Dean Jose de la Rama, Jr. of the Tarlac State University School of Law. Officials, members of the Board of Regents, and members of the faculty of the Tarlac State University School of Law. Honorable, my only sister, Visha Marie Peralta Aldon, who is there, and my brother-in-law, Attorney Cornelio Aldon, judges of the Regional Trial Court and Municipal Trial Court of Tarlac. I think some of them are here. Members of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines, Tarlac Chapter, and those who are tuned in via video live stream, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. A pleasant morning to everyone. I trust that you are all safe and well. Let me clear the deck by thanking you for your gracious company today, for allotting some of your precious time to prepare for and be present at this event. I am well aware that the limitations made necessary by the global public health crisis we are faced with have imposed a certain degree of difficulty in organizing this event as regards logistical and coordination concerns. For that and this significant gesture, I am deeply honored and humbled. It is indeed an honor to be here and to be conferred the Doctors of Laws Honoris Causa degree by this premier institution for law studies, the Tarlac State University School of Law. I accept with humility what you have bestowed upon me today, grateful that my years of dedication, commitment, and hard work as a member of the bar and of the bench are being recognized. I am mindful of the rigid guidelines and parameters within which this degree, for the sake of honor, is conferred, and of its concomitant responsibilities. And I can assure you that I will continue to do my best to distinguish myself in international understanding, leadership, and the rule of law. I am aware of the rich history of this university in educating a great number of our fellow men who have contributed greatly not only to the development of this region but also to the nations. Since it was founded some 95 years ago, Tarlac State University has committed itself to fostering an academic environment that would enhance the academic, political, cultural, and social interests of its faculty and studentry. This institution has had a long, colorful history of sustaining the quality of relevant programs in advanced education through its commitment to people empowerment, professional development, and global competitiveness. I am certain that these values that the university inculcates in its studentry have been instrumental in shaping its alumni's attitude, not only work, but also towards society. Having been an educator myself for most of my professional life, I know the value of education in the task of nation building. It is the bedrock upon which societies develop and flourish. Consequently, there can be no question as to the role that Tarlac State University has played in establishing a progressive society by instilling in the minds, character, and spirit of its studentry in the values of excellence and industry or hard work. Thus, when I was informed of the university's School of Law's decision to confer this honor on me, I was pleasantly surprised and overwhelmed by the privilege to be considered as part of this institution. Tarlac State University takes pride in its core values of excellence and enhanced competence, quality, unity, integrity, and involvement, trust in God, and yearning for global competitiveness. As it happens, there are values that have likewise striven to uphold in my professional affairs and personal life. To espouse competence in my profession through constant hard work so that others may benefit from it. From the time when I worked as a junior executive for a private company up to this day, I have continuously compelled myself to do more than what it expected of me, always. Being recognized for excelling in one's career is a significant gesture that one would be grateful for being recognized for doing something that one is passionate about is a particularly meaningful occasion that one holds in deep respect. The fact that I am here being acknowledged for my judicial career and service in the public from the time I was a public prosecutor in my hometown in Lawag, Ilocos Norte, up to now, the final weeks of my term as 26th Chief Justice of the Republic of the Philippines is for me a recognition not of my achievements but my passion and dedication to my work. My whole path as a lawyer and as a public servant has taught me one thing: one's success in life is directly proportional to one's industry and dedication to his or her work. I have said before that one may be the most naturally talented individual or the most mentally gifted person in his or her class, but without persistent hard work and discipline, that person will never realize true success in life. For there is no other alternative to hard work. I stand before you today not because of the number of things I have achieved as a magistrate of the Supreme Court or because of the things I have done for the judiciary, but because of the work ethic that I developed and the genuine passion for my work that I nurtured in all my years in public service. My experience as a professor of law, a public prosecutor, a trial judge, a magistrate of the Sandigan Bayan and of the Supreme Court has taught me that the key to success in one's professional life is exerting one's best effort in whatever undertaking. The truth of the matter is, and people who know me can attest to this, once I commit myself to a certain undertaking, I find myself compelled to exert whatever effort is necessary to learn, to improve, and to be good at my work. But I strive to do so not just for my own benefit, but also for the welfare can provide to the people, especially to those in the disadvantaged sectors. And we need to provide it to them swiftly and sensibly, as the strength of the justice system can only be gauged in terms of the trust we earn from the public. And how do we earn that trust? By utilizing the Supreme Court's constitutionally enshrined rule-making power to promulgate rules of procedure that are intended to allow more meaningful access to justice. Consequently, when I was appointed Chief Justice in October 2019, I made it clear that I wanted my term to be remembered for three things. First, the declogging of court dockets. Second, is the adoption of reforms that will simplify the court procedures and processes. And third, is the continued promotion of a disciplined and responsive judiciary. These three were all geared towards the realization of a just, speedy, and less expensive system of case adjudication. They necessitated the adoption of reform projects that would streamline judicial proceedings and give life to the spirit of procedural laws without compromising the letter of the law. A number of these reform projects have been mentioned in the generously worded citation for honorary doctorate degree conferred upon me earlier. To encapsulate, these include the adoption and implementation of procedural rules which make the administration of justice effective, efficient, and responsive. Namely, the revised rules of procedure for small claim cases, the revised guidelines for continuous trial of criminal cases, the rule on administrative search and inspection under the Philippine Competition Act, the rule of procedure for admiralty cases, the 2019 amendments to the 1997 Rules of Procedure and to the revised rules on evidence, the interim rules on remote notarization of paper documents, the 2020 revised rules of procedure for intellectual property rights cases, the 2020 guidelines in the imposition of community service as a penalty, the 2020 guidelines for the conduct of video conferencing, the 2020 guidelines for the conduct of court-annexed mediation and judicial dispute resolution in civil cases. The court this year, 2021, has likewise formally organized the long-awaited Judicial Integrity Board, which is charged with strengthening the integrity of the judiciary and preventing corrupt practices among those in it. It goes without saying that the adoption of these projects and policies in a short span of time required an exceptional amount of dedication and hard work on the part of the committees, of which I was the chairperson, and the technical working group members tasked with drafting these rules. We took into consideration global trends and best practices in both procedural and substantive laws that are applicable in our jurisdiction. This undertaking was made exponentially more difficult by the fact that most of this had to be accomplished with public health quarantine protocols, making resort to online and other inventive means necessary in order to deliberate. Still, notwithstanding the temporal and logistical constraints we were faced with, we were able to fine-tune and finalize the revised rules. This leads me to my next point. A true leader should lead and live by example. In order to inspire others to do good, one must constantly set the pace and do better. With all candor, being at the helm of the judiciary during this pandemic is no mean feat. There are no guidelines or rules set in place for such unfamiliar eventuality. All of us are in uncharted territory still. What was clear to me then, during the early stages of this crisis, was that the pandemic all the more underscored the importance of keeping the courts open and accessible. Immediately, I had to come up with policy measures that would guarantee continued access to judicial processes without sacrificing the health and safety of the 30,000-strong court officials and employees nationwide. This included the adoption of skeleton staffing scheme in courts, designation of judges on duty, extension of deadlines, physical closure of courtrooms, electronic submission of pleadings, adoption of video conference as an alternative mode of trial, especially in civil and criminal cases. From the time we introduced video conference, from May 4, 2020 to February 5, 2020, courts have so far conducted 192,444 video conference with a success rate of 88%. We likewise issued administrative orders to allow persons deprived of liberty to be released on reduced bail and recognizance, among others. Our records would show that when we started or we made effective all these administrative orders on March 17, 2020 to February 11, 2020, 122,178, I repeat, 122,178 persons deprived of liberty were allowed to enjoy their provisional liberty. While I have always placed a premium on the value of work in one's undertakings, this distinct aspect of my term as a Chief Justice all the more reinforced my belief that one's good work ethic must always go in hand with one's empathy for others. Ultimately, what makes us excel in our respective fields are the choices we make in our lives. We are and we will always be the sum of our choices. I have been working full-time for more or less half a century, 50 years. And during those 50 years, I choose to work hard for the things I wanted in life. I choose to persevere. As a public servant in the judiciary, I choose to be mindful of the need to make the justice system one that is genuine and accessible to the people. It is the path I choose to take, and it is a path that has served me well. As I reach the end of my term as head of the Philippine judiciary, I can only hope and pray that I continue to choose well. As I prepare to hang my judicial robe, I cannot help but look back at my life's work and feel a more than a modest amount of pride. I will retire without regrets, knowing that I did all that I could for the law, for the courts, and for the nation. I look forward to the world outside the Supreme Court with the thought that at my age, life is still full of possibilities. As early as now, I am planning to return to the teaching profession, which holds a special place in my heart. It is my other lifelong passion, having been a professor and bar reviewer in several schools prior to my appointment to the Supreme Court. The value of education has always been inculcated in me, as is the value of educators and academic institutions such as the Tarlac State University, who I know from experience are dedicated partners of the state in fostering an informed and progressive society. Once again, thank you to the officials of the Tarlac State University School of Law for the honor you have given me today. May you continue to choose to upholding excellence, competence, quality, and integrity as you guide our next generation of legal professionals. Maraming salamat po. Magandang umaga muli sa inyong lahat. Mabuhay po tayong lahat. Thank you. Thank you po. Thank you very much. I will cherish this forever. Thank you.
Your Honor, mag-aasil ako ng permission, tanggalin ko yung po itong face mask ko. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name,
Diosdado M. Peralta,
graduate of the Tarlac State University,
graduate of the Tarlac State University,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
my membership in the Alumni Association,
my membership in the Alumni Association,
that as an alumnus,
that as an alumnus,
I will faithfully abide by the laws,
by the laws,
rules, and regulations
rules, and regulations
of the association,
of the association,
obey its duly constituted authorities,
obey its duly constituted authorities,
and strive to maintain
and strive to maintain
the high and noble traditions
the high and noble traditions
of my beloved alma mater,
of my beloved alma mater,
that I voluntarily impose this upon myself
that I voluntarily impose this upon myself
without mental reservation
without mental reservation
or purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations po.
Thank you. Okay. So, I now have to pledge my loyalty to my alma mater. I, Diosdado M. Peralta, graduate of Tarlac State University, do solemnly swear to render my unswerving loyalty and devotion to my university, to uphold her noble traditions and ideals, and bring glory and dignity to her name by practicing with utmost effort, honesty, and efficiency our chosen professions and all vocations for the improvement, well-being, and prosperity of our country, the Philippines. Thank you.
Everyone is now requested to please stand for the Tarlac State University hymn.
Isolated voices united and sing TSU our beloved, to seek and find our destiny. Loyal to thee will have to be, within thy portals dear TSU. We'll learn the ways of democracy, the truth which shall set us free from ignorance, want, and tyranny. With skills and knowledge enable us, with wisdom and love nurture us. The true sense of peace and prosperity, their fruits will ever be. The love and our water, TSU.
To all those here present, the conferment of Doctor of Laws, Honoris Causa, by the Tarlac State University, to the Honorable Chief Justice, Diosdado Peralta, has now ended.